Let's make a resin cake. So today I'm going to be using epoxy resin from Let's Resin. I love using all of their products. Discount code NAPTIME will give you a discount on their website. They have everything you need to get started with resin. And I'm using their 1-to-1 ratio epoxy today. It's a 1-to-1 ratio by volume. It comes with a part A and a part B. And you have to make sure your parts are completely equal. So here I'm pouring in part A, and I was working on a few different projects, so I was mixing up 16 ounces. So I poured in 8 ounces part A, and then I'm going to pour in 8 ounces part B, making 16 ounces total. And like I said, I was working on a few different projects, but if you just wanted to get started with the cake, I would mix up 8 ounces to start. So you would do 4 ounces part A and 4 ounces part B to make 8 ounces total. Again, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. I'm going to mix this up for 3 minutes with my silicone spatula. Let's Resin also sells mixing cups, mixing tools, all that good stuff on their website. I will link all the materials I'm using down below in the description box. If you're watching this video on YouTube, just click the drop down arrow to the right of the video title, and that'll open up the description box and you can have direct links to everything I'm going to be using today. And when you mix your resin, you want to mix slowly. You don't want to whip it up and introduce a bunch of air bubbles into your resin. You just want to take your time, mix slowly, scrape off your stir stick, scrape the bottom of the cup, scrape the sides of the cup, really incorporating those parts A and B together. And you're going to see a bunch of like striations and stringy lines like this in your epoxy. And once your resin is completely mixed, those will be completely gone. So it's been 3 minutes, and now I'm going to pour this mix into another clean cup. This is how I mix my resin. I do recommend that everybody mix their resin like this because it is the only way to ensure your resin is completely 100% mixed. And this is called the double cup mixing method. And you want to make sure you scrape every drop out of that first cup. Otherwise, your ratios will be off and your resin might not set up properly. Your resin won't set up if your parts A and B are not completely equal or if your epoxy is undermixed. So you want to make sure you take your time and mix it up really well and try this double cup mixing method. I'm going to mix it up for another 3 minutes, and then my epoxy will be ready to use. And again, we're mixing slowly, not introducing a bunch of air bubbles into the cup, and mixing for another 3 minutes. If your cup has a little groove or ridge on the bottom of the cup like this one does, you want to make sure you take your stir stick and get in there and stir it really well. And I prefer to use silicone spatulas like this one when I'm mixing my epoxy because wooden stir sticks will leak air. They're not sealed or treated in any way, so I recommend the silicone stir sticks. Mix that up for 3 minutes. This is the mold we're going to be using, and you want to make sure you keep this foam insert here. That is going to make your mold keep the heart shape while your epoxy is curing. This is the mold you can get off Let's Resin's website, discount code NAPTIME. I'm so excited to pour this one. This one we're going to be pouring in 2 different layers. So the first day, really easy, just going in with this ocean white liquid pigment. I had 1 ounce of clear and mixed in 1 drop, and we're just filling in the icing details on the top of this mold. The mold comes in 2 pieces. It's got the top and then the actual bottom, which is kind of like a cute little jar. So we're going to pour this, let the white cure, and then we're going to come back tomorrow and fill it up the rest of the way. And you can also get these little cups from Let's Resin. They work great for projects like this where you're trying to get a nice controlled detailed pour. They've got a little spout on them. So here we are the next day. I'm going to be using some mica powder from this set. You can get this from Let's Resin's website. It's got every color you would ever want. They're all so beautiful. I'm going to be using the orchid color, and I'm also going to be using some glitter and these interference mica powders. The interference mica powders are so pretty. They're like a white, but they have a color shift of purple and blue. So to mix up my micas, I just do a pea size amount in about 2 or 3 ounces of resin. A pea size amount would work in 2 or 3 ounces. Just mix it up really well. And now I'm going to layer the colors inside my cup here to give me kind of like a dirty pour. And I'm going to pour this straight into my mold. Just going to finish layering my colors. I loved how this was looking so far. I'm going to add a little bit more of that interference mica and we're going to pour it into the mold here. So this is the second layer of the top of the cake mold, and then we're going to go in and pour the first layer on the base of the cake mold. I could have done that yesterday, like the first day when I did the icing layer on the lid, but I just ended up doing it the next day. Same thing, I'm doing a dirty pour again, except I'm using more white and clear along with a little bit of glitter and the interference mica powders. Layering the colors in my cup, and I'm going to just pour them right out of the cup into this mold here. And you want to make sure that you don't overfill this part. I'm going to let this kind of level out a little bit because you can see there's an icing layer as well on the bottom of this mold, and I wanted that to be white. So we're going to pour this one in 2 layers as well. I filled up the base of the mold, and this is the next day filling the mold up the rest of the way with white. I wanted that frosting to look completely white around the perimeter of the jar. Let those cure for 24 hours. Here we are getting ready to take this out of the mold. I was so excited to see how it turned out. Look at how cute. I love the way the frosting looks. Now we're going to do the jar or take the jar out of the mold. You can see the bottom is completely white. That's why we poured it in 2 layers because I wanted that frosting to be completely white on that second layer. So just really pay attention when you're filling the mold up. Don't go over the point where that frosting starts inside the mold. Otherwise, you're going to have 2 different colors on that frosting layer. And this one, I got some really cool wispy effects on the sides because I used white and clear. If you pour some white down and then you pour the clear on top of the white, it'll give you some really cool wispy looks on your pieces. But here's how it was looking, and you can get real creative with these. Add a vinyl decal if you want. I picked up this one. One of my friends made it for me. You could add rhinestones or even fake polymer clay sprinkles to the frosting with UV resin if you wanted. You can get real creative and jazz these up. Definitely check out this mold from Let's Resin. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and thanks for watching.